Yogurt bread. Now, before cooking anything where you're going to be using your hands around food items, it's very important to thoroughly wash your hands with a high-grade antibacterial soap to kill all germs. Ingredients: 800 grams of bread flour, 1 sachet of yeast, 48 grams of butter, 48 grams of sugar, 15 grams of salt, 200 millilitres of milk, 200 millilitres of water, 160 millilitres of plain yogurt. Bread is one of the oldest foods known to humans and has reportedly been around since the Neolithic period. Early varieties were made from grains and water. Today, bread is as popular as ever, and the introduction of small bread machines means that people can now make their own varieties of bread easily and in the comfort of their own home. Many bread machines only require that you add the ingredients into the machine, which then mixes and bakes the dough over a period of time. This means that it's now possible for people to always have fresh bread without having to leave their homes. Firstly, add 800 grams of bread flour into the dough mixer. Then place the bowl into a mixing machine and add the other ingredients. First, the yeast, then the sugar, then the salt. Then the plain yogurt. They don't necessarily have to be added in this order. Next, whilst turning the mixing machine on, we add the milk, which is also mixed with water. The mixing machine blends all the ingredients together for us. Finally, we add the butter. As the yeast reacts with other ingredients, it causes the bread dough to heat, and we check the temperature to make sure it isn't too hot or too cold, which could affect the final outcome. If the temperature is right, we then put the lid on the mixing bowl and let it sit for a period of 40 minutes. This is to let the yeast react with the other ingredients. As you can see, when the yeast reacts with the other ingredients, it causes the dough to rise or expand. Next, we portion the dough into 4 pieces of 370 grams each. To do this, we use a digital cooking scale. Once the 4 pieces have been divided equally, we roll them into balls and place in a sealed container and allow to sit for a period of 20 minutes. After taking out of the container, we roll the 4 pieces flat using a rolling pin. Then we roll the pieces into long strips, approximately 70 centimeters in length. Then intertwine or cross the pieces as such and place into the baking trays. We then let the dough sit again in a waiting oven with a temperature of about 35 degrees Celsius for a period of 35 minutes. As you can see, the dough continues to rise or expand in the baking trays. Next, it's time to put the bread dough into the oven for baking. With our gas oven, bake time is 35 minutes at a temperature of 180 degrees Celsius. As you can see, the dough continues to rise and turns a golden brown colour during baking. When done, take out of the oven, remove from the baking trays and place on a cooling rack to let the bread cool down. When it is cool enough to handle, cut into slices and enjoy with butter or a variety of tasty spreads. What a delicious loaf of bread with a great texture and crust.